Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and today we're gonna be talking about the senatorial election that will happen in 2026, the midterm election, and this will just be a recap, a new update, a new monthly update. We're gonna have monthly updates until November 2026, the big day everybody is watching, especially the Democrats, because they are in a very bad shape, because they lost the 2024 election. Now they're trying to be in 2026, and also in 2025 we're gonna have full coverage. Don't forget, I'm gonna be very direct to you. We're gonna have full coverage starting at 6:45 p.m. Eastern time on November 4th, and that will go up to 2 a.m. or even 3 a.m. Eastern time in the other day, in Wednesday. So this will be a massive live stream. I'll be happy to answer to every question you have. Don't forget to go on the description. On the in the comment section. We do have there a very important moment. Please donate $1, $2, whatever you have. It's very important to grow the channel. Also to give me motivation so we can start even having bigger and more live streams. So in the video, this is the map for the next year's election. We do have Ohio here, even though it's not an election in Ohio. It's just a special election because J.D. Vance have a vacancy in his seat, of course, because he was from Ohio, and now he's vice president, as you know. And we're gonna have a new Republican probably being elected in Ohio, and that's just where we're gonna start. So, in terms of the safe seats, we can say that Oregon is safe, Illinois is safe, of course, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware. And I skipped New Jersey for a very important reason, because we're also going to have gubernatorial races this year in New Jersey. Jack Ciattarelli is an amazing candidate. That's why the Republicans have been very competitive there. Probably they can win the election. If they do, if they get close, even within 3 points, I would say, that will be disastrous for the Democrats. Kamala won by 6, but I'm going to be talking about that very soon. Now we're going to say Colorado as safe Democratic seats, and safe. I mean, safe plus 12 in terms of the difference. I don't think we have more in terms of plus 12 here. Then we go to Republicans. I can say Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, even probably Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. It depends. Can Andy Beshear actually run for Senate in Kentucky? If he does, that could be great for the Democrats, and it can potentially be competitive. But don't forget, gubernatorial races are different from senatorial races, and sometimes people mistake that because they think they're the same, and they think, oh, a candidate won for governor by a very big margin, probably he can win for a Senate. That's not true. We saw here in this beautiful state of Maryland here, we saw Larry Hogan, former governor of Maryland, a very Republican governor. Probably people will call him a rhino, but that's just another discussion. But Larry Hogan was a Republican governor from the state of Maryland, and then he tried last year in 2024 to run for Senate because he thought, okay, maybe I was governor, I was a very popular governor because he was a popular governor, and now I'm going to try to be running for Senate, and I might win. That's not correct. He lost by a very big margin. I mean, Trump lost by 25 or something, and he lost by 10. So that's the point I'm making. That's why I'm going to put Kentucky as red. And even if in a very specific case, which I don't think is going to happen in the future, but even if Andy Beshear decides to run for Senate in Kentucky, I don't think, and this is just my prediction, I don't think he's going to win because it's not a gubernatorial race and it's different. I'm just going to add South Carolina and West Virginia to the map, and Alaska. So this is the point. Republicans start at 47. They just need 3 to the majority because, when you know, at 50, the vice president, which is the president of the Senate, he breaks the tie, and the vice president is J.D. Vance. Of course, he's going to break the tie in favor of the Republicans. I'm going to add Florida as safe red, okay? Because Trump won by 13. I would say 12 is safe, and I think Florida's going to trend. It's going to continue trending on to the right because of Cubans, of Venezuelans. Those are people that are going to vote Republican. So now Republicans are at 48 to 40. Then I'm going to move to the likely category, not the very likely. I mean, New Mexico is a likely. I would say even Minnesota and probably New Hampshire. It depends. New Hampshire is an interesting state. Chris Sununu was a very popular governor in New Hampshire. It's probably the same thing, but New Hampshire is actually a competitive state. Trump only lost by around 2.8, so that's actually a competitive state. Could be a swing state. People did not think of New Hampshire as a very swing state, but it actually has some pockets of support for the Republicans, just right here around this very important area of the suburbs of Nashua and also Portsmouth here, very important Republican area, just across the border with Massachusetts. Here you have a very Democratic area across Hanover, the college town as well, and then you go through from Conway, a very beautiful ski resort there, and also you have a somewhat competitive 14 points Democratic city. In 2020, it's it's Jin Sheehan. Maggie Hassan is another senator from New Hampshire, I'm sorry. But Jin Sheehan is she's the incumbent senator. She won by 15 points last time, almost 16 points, but of course that's not going to happen. It's going to be a much more competitive race. And as you can see here, the Republican, I don't know how to pronounce, I'm sorry, Meshner, I don't know. Didn't even run here in this very important areas. But okay, the point I'm making is New Hampshire's going to be a lean blue. Likely blue. Probably if the Sununu family decides to run, that's a different story. But if it doesn't, okay, it's going to end up that way. Then we're going to move to, let's go Iowa. Let's go to Iowa. Iowa's going to end up red, okay? Johnny Ernst decided not to run for election. And people thought, that's great. Republicans thought that was great because some MAGA Republicans call her a rhino. A rhino means it's a Republican in name only. It's the Republican in name only is the full letters, okay? People call her that because she votes with the Democrats. That's what people say from the MAGA. I'm not saying my opinion about that. I'm just saying what people says about her. That's why many people are happy, and even many Democrats are not happy with this because even though if she was a candidate, probably she would be a far worse choice than probably the potential candidate for the Republicans. Okay, that's the point I'm making. Now we move to Virginia, because Virginia is gonna have it's a Democratic. It's Mark Warner. Won in 2014 just barely against Ed Gillespie, won by about 20,000 votes or something, then won by 12 points in 2020. Also Biden won by 10 points in Virginia. Virginia's trying to be a blue state, especially because of the Nova area, the Northern Virginia area. We're going to have gubernatorial elections there as well this year. We're going to have full coverage as well. We're going to have videos every week talking about the early vote, and also two videos in the last week of voting. And I think it's going to end up Democratic by a likely margin. Then we're going to move to Michigan. Same thing, likely margin. Even though we do have an independent candidate, I think, in Michigan trying to be competitive. We'll see about that. Then we move to New Jersey. Beautiful New Jersey, because New Jersey is a very interesting state. He voted for Biden by 16 points. And then he voted for Kamala by 6. He voted for Phil Murphy in the 2021 gubernatorial race, in a very tough environment for the Democrats, to be honest, because Biden was having a lot of fatigue because of the pandemic and everything about that. That's why only Jack Ciattarelli, and then in this case Phil Murphy only won by about 3 points, and that was an amazing night for the Republicans. They also won Virginia gubernatorial with Glenn Youngkin. It was an amazing night for the Republicans, to be honest. But I will think it will stay as lean Democratic, not likely Democratic, because New Jersey is a state in transition, just as New York, especially here the area around this Suffolk County here in New York, also the state in Ireland, which should be. People say it should be part of New Jersey. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some people says that. And now we move to what? To North Carolina. Okay, to North Carolina. North Carolina is going to end up tilt Democratic, because this is Josh Stein. I'm sorry, Roy Cooper. Josh Stein is the incumbent governor now, but Roy Cooper was the former governor. Now is running for Senate. I do think the Democrats are going to pick up the state of North Carolina finally after 2008, when they elected a senator. Former Senator Kay Hagan, and also President Obama won the state in 2008 in that beautiful, people call it beautiful, I will not say beautiful, I will say big blue wave year in 2008, when they got a huge majority in the House, huge majority in the Senate, huge presidency for Obama. And then he came in 2010 with the Tea Party election, and everything went wrong, but that's just another point for another video. And yeah, North Carolina is going to end up tilt Democratic, because this is this is a state that is in. Also, you'd say, okay, many Democrats have huge advantages in the research triangle. That is true. Raleigh, Durham, all of that part, that's true. But this will still be a Republican state, a Republican-leaning state, I would say. Now we're going to move on to Maine. Let's go Maine. I think it's going to end up tilt Democratic as well, okay? Even though we do have Susan Collins and she actually managed every time to win, and she won by. That was a big win. It won by about 9 points in 2020. But I do think this is a time that she's going to lose. Kamala won New Hampshire by about 7 points. I'm sorry, 7 points. But she's a moderate. She's probably MAGA would call her a rhino. Okay. I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't get my message wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about a candidate. You think wherever you want to think, because that's the beautiful part of democracy. Everybody can think wherever they want, and then we're gonna have elections, and people will choose. And now we move to Texas, and Texas will stay a Republican. Okay, I mean, there's no way it's gonna end up lean Republican, I would say, because probably the Democrats can make a run with Colin Allred again, but it needs to be a very bad candidate, and very bad candidate is Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz won. I mean, it wasn't an election year, but still, Ted Cruz won, and nobody likes him. Not even the Republican establishment likes him. But he keeps getting reelected, and the people voice into the people's choice. And now we move to Georgia. And now Republicans achieved a 50 they need the majority, so the Republicans are going to stay in the majority in the Senate. It's very hard for the Democrats to actually win this. And then you move to Georgia. I think the Democrats are going to hold up with John Ossoff in Georgia, okay? And then you move to Ohio. I think whoever wants to be the candidate is going to win in Ohio. So this will be the final map, 51-49. If the Democrats have any shot at taking this, they could win back Ohio and probably Texas, or Texas or Iowa. But this is just a very, very tough scenario. Or I would say, I mean, it's really hard to even predict. They will pick up Idaho. I mean, that's crazy to think about it, if you think about it. So yeah, this is the video, guys. Don't forget, November 4th, starting at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, gonna have a full live stream of about 7 to 8 hours of live stream, talking about elections, talking about covering all the results, and we'll see you in there. Don't forget to subscribe, leave your like for the next video, and don't forget videos at Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, all at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next.